Welcome to Lifestyle Solopreneur, the community for entrepreneurs who put lifestyle first. Join your host, Flavia Barris, as she interviews successful lifestyle solopreneurs and shares ideas to help you find the perfect balance between lifestyle, business, and self. Flavia is an attorney, marketing expert, and founder of several online academies. She's been featured in major media, including BBC World News, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Post, ESPN Television, and more. Join us for this episode of Lifestyle Solopreneur. Hey, Lifestyle Solopreneurs. Today we get to speak with Sam Morris. He is the CEO of Sunset Capital. He has over 20 years of experience in various aspects of real estate and has led acquisition and disposition teams on over $550 million worth in multifamily transactions. Having asset managed for over $650 million in real estate assets, he has experience in all aspects of the life cycle of a property. He's a former corporate banker with 18 years of experience, and he's been involved in over $1 billion worth of financing in real estate transactions. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thanks so much, Flavia. It's great to be here.
Well, it's really great to have you. I always love asking people, how did you end up where you are? Because I think when we talk to little kids, we're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A lot of them say, I want to be Superman, or I want to be a firefighter, or they look around and see the people around them. But I love it when people go down the path of being in the world of real estate and finance. You have quite a history, quite a career. How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We were talking earlier about some of the kind of the earlier days, talking about Morse the cat and things of that nature. And when I grew up, ironically enough, as a young boy, I always had a slant to going into business. I really knew that was very attractive to me and things like that. And more so the stock market, I always thought that was just fascinating. And so back in those days, I learned as a young boy, I was probably 8 or 9 years old. One of my uncles showed me how to read stock charts in the newspaper because that was the only way you could actually see them back then. And I was just fascinated with, oh my gosh, you can put your money into all these companies. And there were companies that I knew what they were as a young boy. McDonald's, I knew who McDonald's was, things like that. And so fast forward from an educational standpoint, I get into college and I really do think, man, the banking and finance world is really where I wanted to go. And so right out of college, I became a banker, and it was just a fantastic training and stepping stone to really all things that were out there. I tell everybody it was an amazing place to cut my teeth because I got to learn about every single type of business that was out there. Being a small commercial banker, we lent money to everybody, not just real estate, really just every kind of business you can think of. And it was just a fascinating start because I got to see everything from that point of view.
And how did you end up transitioning into what you do now, which is mostly real estate related?
Yeah, so I became what they call a master underwriter when I was a young guy. You know, in banking, when you get your start, all they have you do all day, every day is underwriting deals. And so from a quantitative perspective, all I did was underwrite deals. And so I had a great understanding of everything involving financials, how it worked, what levers would be pulled to, and what that would change. And really at a young age, I started seeing who was making all the money. Right? Because from the side of the bank, these were people borrowing money, and we got to see all the results, and I had the actual numbers in front of me. So I got to see who actually did what. And at a pretty young age, I started going, wow, these are the people making good money. And this is something that's really fascinating to me. And I have a good knowledge base from a quantitative perspective. I'd like to learn more about it. And by the time I was 27 or so, I started investing in real estate as passively. So I would give my money to other operators, go, man, the guys who make real big money are the ones who are buying these big apartments. And if they're willing to take me on, right, to where I can invest alongside of them and learn how they're doing it, it was something I wanted to continue doing as I was being a banker, right? And so I started investing in these deals at a pretty young age, and it really changed the trajectory of things for me because I just got an amazing education from that aspect as well.
Amazing. And for today, give us an average week. What are the things you're working on? What are the things that drive you in your business?
Yeah, it's a little bit different because kind of fast forward to what we do today. I have 3 main components that I really work on. One of them is going to be our investor relations side, which is the equity side of our business. So I'm continually working, talking to our investors, working with our investors, making sure that we have enough deal flow for them and they have enough appetite for what we're looking at. Then asset management, which is a huge aspect of what we do. I mean, think of that as like everything but the property management, right? So anything with driving the business plans, anything with understanding the financing side of the business, heavily involved in that. And then really the third big thing would be acquisitions. So we were constantly out there shopping for new deals and underwriting the new deals and seeing what's available. And so I would say those are really the three main aspects that I continue to work on every day or every week for that matter too. And it's just getting the word out about what we do, how we do it, and continue to grow our investor base while keeping up the relationships that we have with all the brokers that are out there so we can see the deals and then making sure all the deals that we have are running appropriately.
So this show is really about not just business, but also lifestyle and sort of staying sane in this world that, especially now, I mean, when you're talking about like back in the day in the 80s, we were talking about Morris the cat and these cute TV commercials, and because your name is Sam Morris. So it's funny because back then, like in the 80s, even the 90s, we didn't really have these cell phones that make us sort of almost a slave to our jobs 24/7 because people can reach us anywhere, whenever, all the time. I mean, I do remember a time when if I was out and about, I would have to find a payphone in order to make a phone call because I'm out and about and I didn't have a phone on me 24/7. And how do you stay sane? Because I imagine with all of the different investor clients you have and just, I'm sure there's all kinds of things that pop up and you have to jump to attention and get to work. How do you keep yourself balanced and sane?
Yeah, I would call the cell phone the electronic leash of our day. I mean, it really is because of the connectivity and the acceptability of people pretty much being on them 24/7. As far as the sanity of things, I'm very blessed. I've been married for over 21 years right now. So I have an amazing wife. We have 4 children. And there's a lot of things that help keep me grounded and actually continue to understand what's what and what's important in life. And so we have some non-negotiables, right, with a lot of things. And it's understanding that, yeah, I mean, the beauty of it is I always know that there's going to be something to do tomorrow, no matter what it is, right? There will always be more things to do tomorrow. And as important as you may think it is to respond to this person or get this project done or whatever it may be, and there's definitely times that it's important to do all that. You have a list every single day and I'll write, say 30 things on it, but only 3 of them are critical, right? And you want to put your focus towards those things. And the other 27, if you didn't get them done today, getting them done tomorrow is an option. But having that grounding of understanding, hey, there are other things in life other than just this business you're doing. And you don't want to miss out on life while you're trying to continue to grow your business.
You work in real estate, and specifically, it sounds like you're heavily focused in multifamily, right? That would be apartment buildings and that kind of housing. So does that lend itself, you think, to a lifestyle business, or is it more of a challenge working in the field you work in to keep yourself to achieve this balance that you've maintained?
I mean, I think it's definitely not the best from a work-life balance standpoint, from the standpoint of you're dealing with people's homes. I tell people a lot of times real estate is easy. People can be difficult. And when you have a property, let's just say it's a 200 unit property, you may have 300 people living there. And that's a lot to answer for. And so making sure you have the right people involved to help you address those concerns, address whatever issues may come up, fix work orders, things like there's a lot of things that go on. And you got to make sure that you have the right people in place to be able to answer to that.
What about for your investor clients? So take us through that, because you have sort of customers that would be maybe the tenants, but then you have your investor clients. What is their role? And for them, is this more of like a lifestyle business? Is lifestyle investment, we can call it? And how does that sort of fit in?
I would say for them, it's much easier, right? Because they're passive in the deals. And what's great about that is, and that's part of what we sell. It's part of our value add proposition. Hey, if you want to have ownership of this big piece of real estate, you can do that investing alongside us in this deal. And we handle all those, we call it the old tenants, toilets, and taxes. We handle all those aspects of it because that's our day-to-day business. And so somebody who maybe wants exposure to that in their own portfolio, but doesn't want to have to deal with all those things, that's really where we come in and we're able to handle those things with it.
I just love that you call real estate a team sport.
It
That
really is.
real estate investing is a team sport. So go into that a little bit. Who are all the players on this team?
Yeah, just in general, if you have one deal, just take it one deal. There's a lot of players involved in it. Each property may have, call it between 5 and 6 employees at each of the properties. And that would be, we call it inside and outside. So there's going to be a couple of people inside the office at the property. And then there's going to be a handful of people outside the office who are doing all the maintenance and things associated with it. And each of those components are critical to the running of that. But then that's the property management side. In addition to that, you may have somebody who's overseeing them because we have multiple properties. But we also have another group called the asset managers who are watching the numbers and making sure that the business plan is being executed upon. And there's a big corporate level to all this too, where we have marketing teams and we have the investor relations team associated with it. So those investors that are in the deals too, they may have needs where they're wanting to get more transparency on something, or we're providing them monthly updates associated with their investment. So it ends up being a lot more people that we're adding other than just, hey, we're just going to buy that property.
It seems like that's an essential part of it for you, because if you were to wear all of these hats or stay very involved in each of these aspects, it just doesn't seem like that'd be sustainable.
No, it's not. You'll burn out rather quickly and you won't be able to do a good job. I mean, I do a few things very well, and that's really where my focus lies. On the rest of it, I need help. That's flat how it is.
And so what's next in your path? Like, what are your goals for the next few years? Are you planning to sort of hold steady and grow what you've been building, which is considerable? Or are you planning to start anything different or new or make any big changes that we didn't know about?
It's funny you say that. We are in the process of merging our company in with another larger company. And part of doing that too is so that I end up having a little bit more time to do the things that I want to do while we continue to grow the business. So, I mean, growth is kind of inevitable. You're either growing or you're shrinking. And so to continue to grow the business, this was kind of that next step. And a big part of it is for me, just because of my age. We have, like I said, 4 kids, and they age from college age to 6th grade, right? There's so many things going on that I want to have a little bit more presence with in these last several years before my kids all start moving out. And so a great example of that is last week, my youngest, my 6th grader, she just made the cheerleading squad at her junior high. And so I've never been a cheerleading dad before, but I want to be able to sit there and go, all right, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this so that I have the ability to go watch her cheer and cheer her on as she's cheering on teams.
Oh, that's amazing. As a former cheerleader, I have to say, amazing. And congratulations to you both. And I think Cheer Dad is a title you will wear very proudly, and you'll have a lot of fun with this.
Very much so.
And that is what's important, right? Is time with family and sort of personal development to do the things we want to do outside of work, so that we're not just spending our entire lifetime at the computer, chained to the phone, and we get to do some of these fun things. What are some other things you do with your family or that you enjoy as hobbies?
Yeah, I mean, community is real big to me too. So every week, we have a men's group. It's our Bible study group that we meet every week. And it's a group of guys that we're all about the same age, and there's 14 of us. We have dinner, we go over a book of the Bible. And that's a big deal to me because it helps keep me grounded I have fellowship with buddies, right? And then as far as family and things like that, I'm real big on eating dinner together every night, if and when we can, right? Because all my kids, except for my youngest, she's almost there, are all teenagers. And so they all have activities. They're running 1,000 different directions. And really just the divide and conquer of being able to support that is really big to us. And I was always coached growing up. So I've got to coach all my kids in all their sports from the time they were really, really little to the time that they were in school playing. And I was no longer allowed to coach, kind of thing. So being an active and present father was always a big deal to me. And it's part of the reason I chose the career path I did. And that hasn't gone away. And so I continue to want to do more of that with these last years that we really have until they all start moving out and moving on.
It's amazing. I love hearing that and keeping priorities where they should be. That's fabulous. So we always ask guests, how can we help listeners even more, right? So is there something that you have that would help our listeners in whatever their next goals might be? And you brought up that you've got a due diligence checklist that you'd be willing to share. So let us know, what is that exactly? Because there's people listening who are like, I don't even know what due diligence means. So give us a little info on what that is.
Yeah, sure. So with a lot of people, and this is really more specific to real estate world, which is really where we have a lot of expertise. When they're going to actually acquire a property or something like that, we built a due diligence checklist that we're more than happy to provide. It literally tells them step by step all the things that they need to check before they go out and pull the trigger on purchasing a property. And it's really skewed more towards the commercial space, but it's all the things that whether you're going to do it yourself or whether you're going to invest with somebody, it's a very valuable tool for having an understanding of what you're getting into ahead of time.
I think that's really generous. So thank you so much. I think that's a great tool. Really, even for someone that's considering being a real estate investor, wouldn't be a bad thing to check out because that really would give them almost a primer on what are the things that people look at when they're considering a real estate investment.
Absolutely.
So give us some last words of wisdom for the day. What are some things you can tell someone who hasn't pulled the trigger on something that may be on their bucket list, of their goals list, a big dream? It could be starting a business, changing a business around, pivoting, doing something big in their life, but they're nervous or for whatever reason have been holding back. What can you say as someone that has achieved so much in your own life and you've really just conquered thing after thing after thing? What can you offer to someone that needs to hear your words?
Yeah, I would say, and particularly if you're a solopreneur, is to surround yourself with community. And what I mean by that is find a mastermind, find a mentorship program, find another group that you can go into where you can share your experience and hopefully get wisdom back, right? And you'll find that it's amazing. I mean, it'd be to people that have nothing to do with your industry, but they're also entrepreneurs. They're also climbing the hill just the way you are. And they may have seen things or gone through things that can actually really help you level up, even though it may not be specific to your industry. And so I always tell people, if you could ever find masterminds or other groups within your community that can help lift you up, it's tremendous, especially if you go there kind of open arms and open mind, being able to create value for others, meaning you're willing to share your experiences. You will find that others are going to be willing to share with you, and it can help make everybody better.
I love it. That's great. Sam, it's been so nice talking to you and getting inspired and motivated and just seeing everything you've built, but also how you've kept yourself so grounded. I love the family dinners as often as possible to just come together and enjoy each other, because that's really, at the end of the day, what it's all about. Friends, family, loved ones, personal development, and just being a holistic human where you take it all into account. You're not just there for the job and the work. So thank you for sharing all of your journey with us, Sam.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, and if you leave a review on iTunes, I promise I will read every single review. If you know someone who makes a full-time living from part-time work, and maybe this is you, please visit lifestylesolopreneur.com to nominate a guest or to nominate yourself. Because remember this, money doesn't buy happiness, but money in the hands of a happy person, there is no greater tool.
Today's episode was brought to you by the Get Shift Done program. It's a lifestyle-changing online class to help you define your business and lifestyle ambitions and to set goals in a way you've never experienced before. This class will 10x your daily productivity with methods that will blow your mind. And if you use a coupon code podcast, the class tuition is 99% off. Visit GetShiftDone.com to enroll today.